So the XIAC board and the Kramer board are quite different. The Kramer board has that potentiometer and this jumper. The XIAC board has a selector switch and an up and an or up and a down button to change the frequency. There's also a default button over here. If you keep that pressed for 1 second, it will load the default settings. And we got some dip switches here. The first dip switch is for Kramer mode when it's off, or XIAC mode when it's on. In Kramer mode, it will drive the vibrators with a PWM signal, and in XIAC mode it drives it with a pure sine wave signal, which has some benefits. The second one is to set if this board is used as a hopper or as the front vibrator. So when it's off, like this one, this board is for the hopper, and when it's on, it would be for the front vibrator. The board itself doesn't function differently in any way, but when you load the default settings, and this one is on hopper, it will load the default settings for the hopper, or which best suit for the hopper. And if you put it in front vibrator and press the default button, it will load the best settings for the front vibrator. Then the third switch is for the acceleration. So when the plates start up, it has some acceleration, so it doesn't just start straight away 100%, but it slowly goes to that 100% mark. Otherwise, you always see that bouncing of the products on the vibrator when the vibrator starts. And if you use the acceleration, then you don't see that bouncing. So we set the acceleration on. And then the last switch, you don't need to worry about it. You can just leave it off. That would be to adjust the voltage. But that's only, you would only use that if you run the vibrators at that peak of the curve, at the resonance frequency. But since we don't do that, you just leave it off as it is now. So to tune the frequency, we have this select button and this up and down switch. If you press the select button, the first time the LED, which is over here, marked F, will light up to indicate that you can adjust the frequency. Then the plus button will increase the frequency, and the minus button will decrease that. If you press it again, both of these will light up to indicate that you can adjust the acceleration parameter. But you know, we're not going to change that. And then when you press it again, they will turn off and the settings will be saved in the controller. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. So then we can change the vibrator control boards. The new boards have a different plug, this green one. So I'm gonna change the plug first. I only bring one, so the other one I'll make it fit. But this is quite easy. Forgot to bring two of these. But the pitch is the same of those plugs, and they're almost identical. So it's not too much work to shape the other one to fit. Anyway. Alright, that's done. Pull the other one out. Pull the board out. Top one is the hopper. Bottom one is for the front and center vibrator. The new one, the one with the dip switch, the second switch down is the hopper, so that one goes into the top. Like so. Plug this one in. The bottom one, all dip switches up, is for the front and center vibrator. Put the one in. Now I cut this plug a little bit so that it will still fit, even though they don't match. I still fit it in there. So that's all good. And then we can start doing the tuning. So now we can tune the vibrators. Before doing so, we have to be sure that the AFC here is at 100%, because the AFC is going to influence the vibrator speed. So if this is not 100%, then we don't really have any indication on how fast the vibrators are actually running. So to do that, so if this is not 100, to reset it to 100, you first turn it off, then you press the reset button, and then it will reset to 100. And okay, make some buckle here. Over. And then let's first do the front vibrator. So we set the front vibrator to 100. 100. And the hopper, let's turn off the hopper. The hopper is already off. So now we can start it. Okay, vibrator is running. I got the stickers there. Yeah, stickers over there. So that's what I'm going to look at. Now let's put the camera in the cradle. So what we first do, if you receive this board, you first press the default button so that all the values will be reset to default. Keep it pressed for a second. The OK button will quickly flash. And now we press the setting button. So these LEDs are off now, just underneath that settings button, or that select button. If we press it one time, then the F LED will turn on, which means that we can change the frequency. We need to change it up, so we press the up button. Until we see that the two lines match. If the two lines match, you can press it again. Now they both turn on, so that you can change the acceleration, but yeah, we don't need to change that. And then we press it again. And now you could hear it, now the settings are saved. So if we turn off the machine now and power it back up, it will load the settings that were saved for the front vibrator. And for the hopper is of course the same thing. It's just that you need to use the other board. So that's all there is to it. But I have to stress that you should not forget to set the AFC to 100%. That's very important. So I'll show you the difference between the standard Kramer PWM mode and the new sine wave XIAC mode. So this is the current through the vibrators in Kramer PWM mode. Now if you flip the switch, so that's the first switch on those dip switches. Also listen to the noise, yeah? You can hear the vibrators clearly humming at the moment. Now if we change this switch, and now it's in sine wave mode, and you can hardly hear the vibrators now because they're driven by a pure sine wave. So even though the amplitude is the same as here, you can't hear the vibrators anymore. See that? It's very nice. So I would suggest to run them in XIAC mode with sine wave control, but it's really up to you. You know, I think it's nicer, and you're losing the hum.